Jackson always knew he was adopted, a fact that never really bothered him, until the day he stumbled upon a door hidden behind the overgrown ivy in his backyard. Intrigued, he carefully cleared the vegetation and pushed the door open, revealing a secret room filled with boxes and old furniture. As he stepped inside, Jackson's excitement turned to dread when he saw what was hidden in the shadows. Jackson runs back to his house, filled with a mix of fear and determination. His breathing heavy, he slams the door behind him and tries to collect his thoughts. He couldn't shake the image of that hidden room from his mind. It was like something out of a mystery novel. The adrenaline in his veins pushes him to decide on his next steps without involving anyone else just yet. He decides not to tell his parents, instead opting to investigate further on his own. The idea of sharing this discovery with his parents filled him with an inexplicable sense of apprehension. Maybe it was the fear of ruining the illusion of normalcy in their lives, or just the thrill of solving a mystery by himself. Quietly, he made a plan, noting to return to the hidden room the next evening. Armed with a flashlight and gloves, Jackson returns to the hidden room the next night. He moves stealthily, ensuring no one from the house notices his little escapade. He felt like a detective on a covert mission. Each step heightened his nerves, making him more vigilant as he neared the secret door. Finally, there it was, waiting for him to reveal its mysteries once more. Climbing inside, he steeled himself for whatever came next. He starts going through the boxes, filled mostly with old photos and documents, but nothing stands out initially. Jackson flips through yellowed papers and faded photographs, trying to ignore the smell of must and mildew. Each box seemed more disappointing than the last, filled with what appeared to be mundane family history. His fingers sifted through old letters, newspaper clippings, and vintage trinkets as he sought something, anything, that could explain the hidden room. One box, however, is locked and seems much newer than the rest, so he decides to find a way to open it, feeling a strange sensation that the answer to his unease lies within. It contrasted sharply against the other worn containers, its metal latches gleaming ominously. Jackson's heart raced as he tried shaking it, but it wouldn't budge. He needed the right tools and maybe some luck to crack this particular nut. Determined, he resolved to unlock its secrets soon. Jackson decides to visit the local library to research his home's history. He wanted a starting point, something to ground his investigation. The library, with its dusty scent and whispering pages, seemed like the perfect place. Wandering through the aisles, he found books and articles about his town's past, hoping they might mention his house. Hours passed, but he didn't mind. This research might just provide the clues he needed to unlock the box's mystery. He discovers that the property changed hands several times over the years, but uncovers no significant details. The records were filled with dates and names, but nothing jumped out as noteworthy. He scribbled down what he found in his notebook, trying to make sense of the convoluted lineage of ownership. None of the details explained the secret room or its hidden contents. While frustrating, this dead end didn't dissuade him. Instead, it made him more determined. Puzzled but not deterred, he opts to speak to an elderly neighbor, Mrs. Connolly, who has lived in the area her whole life. Shuffling across the yard, he approached her white picket fence and called out. The old woman, sun hat perched jauntily on her head, seemed pleased to have a visitor. "Afternoon, Mrs. Connolly," Jackson greeted. "Mind if I ask you a few questions about the neighborhood?" Her eyes sparkled, clearly enjoying the attention, and she nodded eagerly. She recalls rumors of the house having a secret past, but doesn't have specifics. Mrs. Connolly leaned in conspiratorially, recounting whispered tales of odd happenings from decades ago. "They say that house has always been full of secrets," she said with a wink. "But specifics? I'm afraid I don't have those." Jackson appreciated her stories, if only because they added more layers to the mystery. He thanked her and walked away, his mind buzzing with new possibilities. Intrigued, Jackson spends the next few days piecing together snippets of information. He scours through various old letters and newspaper clippings. Even the tiniest detail could be a vital clue. During school breaks, he jots down notes, connecting the dots in his mind. Each piece adds to his overall understanding, but many questions still hover. His determination only intensifies, driven by an eagerness to uncover the full story behind the secret room. Later, he heads back to the hidden room to attempt opening the locked box with tools he borrowed from his dad's garage. "This has to work," he whispered to himself, pushing a screwdriver into the lock's crevice. He worked meticulously, trying not to damage the box. After minutes of struggle, he heard a click. His heart raced as he slowly lifted the lid, anticipation coursing through him. What secrets would this box reveal? Jackson's curiosity leads him to skip school and focus entirely on solving the mystery. "One day won't hurt," he justified, sneaking out with his backpack. Avoiding his parents, he headed back to the hidden room. Each step echoed his impatience. He spent hours inside, meticulously searching for more clues about the box and the house. Time seemed to blur as his investigation consumed him, driven by an unshakable desire to uncover the truth. He enlists the help of his friend, Sam, explaining only a fraction of what he discovered to avoid spreading panic. "You've got to see this," Jackson urged Sam. Sam, intrigued but cautious, agreed to join the hunt. "What exactly are we looking for?" Sam asked, eyebrows raised. Jackson simply replied, "There's a locked box and more clues." With their combined efforts, Jackson felt more confident about cracking the mystery wide open. Together, they managed to pry open the box, but its contents confused them. A set of keys and an old map of the property. Sam held up the keys, inspecting them curiously. "What are these for?" he wondered aloud. Jackson unfolded the map, eyes scanning the intricate details. "There's another location marked in red," he noted, pointing to a spot on the map. The discovery, while baffling, was undeniably intriguing, pushing them forward. Following the map, they find yet another hidden location marked in red. "It should be around here somewhere," Jackson said, eyes scanning their surroundings. Sam squinted at the map, trying to orient it correctly. "Maybe over there," he suggested, pointing to a dense thicket at the property's edge. They moved cautiously, excitement mingling with nervousness. The sense of adventure amplified as they drew closer to what the map indicated, eager to see what it concealed. Nervous but excited, they decide to investigate it immediately after school the next day. "We can't wait," Jackson said firmly. Sam nodded in agreement, their shared enthusiasm energizing them. "We'll meet here at 3, Sam confirmed. The rest of the school day passed in a blur for Jackson, his mind fixated on the upcoming exploration. The anticipation was palpable, each tick of the clock bringing them closer to unearthing another layer of the mystery. Jackson and Sam discover that the map leads them to an abandoned shed at the far end of the property. The structure was old and decrepit, barely standing. "This must be it," Sam said, pushing open the creaky door. Inside, dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight. "Feels like nobody's been here for ages," Jackson observed, scanning the room filled with rusted tools and cobwebs. The shed itself evoked a sense of forgotten secrets. The shed appears run down, and it takes them a while to find a match for the keys. "None of these fit," Sam grumbled, trying another key unsuccessfully. Jackson scoured the area, pushing aside old lumber and empty crates. After several attempts, they heard a satisfying click. "Got it," Jackson announced, opening a small lockbox hidden beneath a pile of rags. Inside, they found another set of keys and an aging envelope. Everything felt significantly poignant. Inside, they find old tools, garden supplies, and another sealed box, this one more ornate than the last. "We've come full circle," Jackson joked, examining the intricate patterns on the box's lid. Sam nodded, intrigued. "This one looks even older," he said, tracing the faded engravings. The box seemed crucial, its weight and design hinting at something of greater importance. Jackson gently lifted it, feeling its substantial significance. "We need to open this," he declared. The label on it is faded but appears to contain personal effects. The words, though barely legible, hint at something deeply personal and possibly revealing. Jackson squints at the blurry text, trying to decipher any clue it might hold. This box feels important, almost like it holds the key to the entire mystery. "We should take this somewhere safe," Jackson mutters to Sam, who nods in agreement without saying a word. Deciding it's too risky to break into it on the spot, they carry the box back to Jackson's room, planning to open it later when they can do so discreetly. Jackson takes great care to ensure they are not seen. Once inside, they place it gingerly on the bed. "We'll need tools," Sam notes, glancing around. "Let's wait till night," Jackson replies. They agree to bide their time, each minute stretching their anticipation further. Jackson and Sam open the second box in his room, finding letters and journals that appear to belong to a previous owner. The papers are old, yellowed, and fragile to the touch. "This guy must have lived here ages ago," Sam surmises, carefully unfolding a brittle letter. Jackson scans the room, half expecting something dramatic to happen. Each document they uncover seems to pull them deeper into the story of this mysterious previous occupant. These documents tell the story of a man who lived there decades ago and seemed to have led a double life. Newspaper clippings, dated and yellowed, spoke of a respectable businessman. Yet the journals detailed something entirely different: covert meetings, secret agreements, and undisclosed dealings. Who was this guy? Jackson wondered aloud. Sam shook his head, as perplexed as his friend. The layers of secrecy seemed boundless, making the man both intriguing and unsettling. The journals mentioned secret meetings, hidden transactions, and references to a big reveal planned but never executed. Each page felt more cryptic, filled with codes and names that meant nothing to them. Jackson's eyes widened with each new entry. "This is like something out of a spy movie," he whispered. Sam just nodded, too absorbed in the pages to respond. The sense that they were onto something monumental began to settle around them. Among the papers, they find a photograph of a young couple, the man bearing a striking resemblance to Jackson. He holds the photo closer, eyes darting between his own reflection and the man in the picture. "This can't be a coincidence," Sam said, narrowing his eyes. The resemblance was indeed uncanny, almost as if Jackson was staring at an aged version of himself. It's a discovery that throws their theories into disarray. This discovery unsettles Jackson, but he resolves to learn more, especially about the young man in the photo. "We need more information," Jackson stated, his voice tinged with urgency. They pondered their next move, Jackson's resolve hardening further. "We can't stop now," he declared, a newfound determination evident in his tone. Sam nodded, supportive as always. The roadmap to solving this enigma was becoming clearer, yet more complex with each step. Jackson decides it's time to involve an adult, so he approaches his favorite teacher, Mr. Thompson, a history buff. Mr. Thompson knows practically everything about local history, Jackson explains to Sam as they walk to school. "And he won't think we're crazy," adds Sam. After class, Jackson waits until most students have left before approaching Mr. Thompson. "Sir, I need to talk to you about something unusual," he begins, his nervousness palpable. He shows Mr. Thompson the photograph and the journals, and together they try to make sense of the fragmented story. Mr. Thompson wipes his glasses, intensely scrutinizing the photograph. "This is indeed curious," he murmurs. He flips through the journals, eyebrows knitted in concentration. "It's all very peculiar," the teacher finally comments, looking up from the papers. The older man's fascination grows, evident in the way he carefully handles each document. The teacher advises caution, but offers to help decode the old journals and letters. "You must tread carefully, Jackson," Mr. Thompson warns. "This could be more dangerous than you think." Jackson nods, absorbing the gravity of the situation. Still, the hint of adventure in Mr. Thompson's eyes tells him they're onto something big. "We'll keep this between us," Mr. Thompson assures him, ensuring they have a trusted ally in unraveling this historical puzzle. Over a couple of weeks, they uncover references to clandestine meetings that took place in the hidden room Jackson originally discovered. Each journal entry they translate with Mr. Thompson's help brings new details to light. These meetings were definitely secretive, involving a select few, Mr. Thompson notes, tapping a page. Jackson felt a growing sense of urgency. Every decoded snippet seemed to lay another piece of the puzzle, weaving a complicated tapestry of hidden agendas. They also find indications of valuable items concealed on the property. A coded note mentions a hidden treasure that had caused quite a stir back in the day. "This could be what we're looking for," Jackson remarked, eyes gleaming with excitement. Mr. Thompson nodded slowly. "It seems we need to follow these breadcrumbs carefully." Each clue pointed to something significant, buried deep within the estate, igniting their curiosity even further. Meanwhile, Jackson notices that his parents are acting strangely, almost as if they know he's up to something. His mom is more quiet, and his dad seems on edge. "Did you notice how they looked at me during dinner?" Jackson asked Sam one afternoon. Sam nodded. "Yeah, it's like they suspect something." The unusual behavior wasn't clear-cut, but noticeable enough to fuel Jackson's suspicions, making him more cautious yet determined. His dad has become unusually protective, even locking the garage where Jackson had borrowed tools. This change was sudden and baffling. "Why would he do that?" Sam questioned, scratching his head. Jackson shrugged, uneasy. "Maybe he's hiding something," Jackson mused. Locking up the garage seemed like an overreaction, but it also became a glaring signal that something was indeed out of the ordinary. The mystery deepened, and so did Jackson's resolve. When Jackson asks about the history of the house, his parents seem evasive. "So where did this house come from?" Jackson casually asked over breakfast. His mom glanced at his dad before saying, "It's just an old property, nothing special." The quick dismissal only heightened Jackson's suspicion. It was clear they were hiding something, and their evasion only added to the enigma. Sam confirmed, "They're definitely not telling the whole story." Increasingly suspicious, he installs a hidden camera near the secret door in the backyard to see if they ever check on it. "We need to find out what's up," Jackson whispered to Sam, setting the tiny device in a well-concealed spot. It was a simple setup, but good enough to capture any nightly visits. Jackson felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as he activated the camera, hoping it would reveal more about his parents' strange behavior. To his shock, the footage later reveals his dad sneaking into the hidden room at night. Jackson's jaw dropped as he rewound the video. "Look at this," he whispered, pointing to the screen. Sam leaned closer, eyes wide. "Why would your dad go there?" he asked. Jackson had no answers, only more questions. His dad's secretive actions confirmed his suspicions and intensified the mystery, pushing Jackson to uncover what lay deeper within the hidden room. Jackson confronts his dad, demanding answers, but his dad evades the questions, saying only that some things are better left in the past. "What were you doing in the hidden room?" Jackson questioned bluntly. His dad sighed. "Son, there are things you're better off not knowing." Frustration boiled in Jackson, but he saw the firm resolve in his dad's eyes. Stonewalled, but not defeated, Jackson knew he couldn't rely on parental guidance to solve this mystery. Disappointed yet more determined, Jackson continues digging through the old journals and documents with Mr. Thompson's help. They pored over each page, hunting for something definitive. "There has to be a reason for all this secrecy," Mr. Thompson murmured. Jackson nodded, flipping carefully through another brittle volume. The more they uncovered, the clearer it became that this wasn't just family history. The clues were leading somewhere tangible, and they were getting closer. They find enough clues to piece together a treasure map that leads them to an old, sealed well on the property. "This map's markings align with the house's layout," Mr. Thompson pointed out, tracing the lines. Jackson's heart pounded. "The well must be the key," he said. The possibility of discovering something significant energized them both. The mysterious past was gradually unveiling itself, driving them to explore the next, more treacherous step. Jackson realizes the final piece of the puzzle must lie within the well's depths, intensifying his resolve to uncover the hidden secret. He traces the map's lines again with a sense of purpose. "We have to go down there," Jackson tells Sam, his voice firm. Sam nods, understanding the gravity of their mission. They gather their tools, visualizing the mystery awaiting in the darkness below. The well might be treacherous, but it's the only lead left. Jackson and Sam plan a nighttime mission to break into the well, taking ropes and other necessary equipment. "We'll need flashlights, ropes, and gloves," Jackson enumerates. Sam grabs an old camping backpack, stuffing it with supplies. "This is it," he says, tension lining his voice. As the moon rises, they sneak out, careful not to alert Jackson's parents. With hearts pounding, they reach the well, its ancient stones looming ominously in the dark night. Upon descending, they discover a false bottom that leads to a small chamber. "This isn't a normal well," Sam observes, shining his flashlight around. Jackson feels the walls, noticing an uneven section. "Here, this has to be it," he says, pushing against the bricks. To their amazement, dust swirls as part of the well gives way, revealing a hidden opening. With cautious excitement, they lower themselves into the chamber, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Inside, they find a locked chest, covered in dust but secure. Sam runs his fingers over the ornate carvings. "This looks almost new," he notes. Jackson crouches next to it, peering at the lock. "We need to open this," he says, pulling out a small toolkit. Sam retrieves a crowbar from the backpack, giving it to Jackson. They take turns, straining against the stubborn lock, each attempt clinking ominously in the still air. The chest's lock appears more modern, hinting that it's not as ancient as the hidden room itself. "I think someone added this later," Jackson speculates. Sam nods, noting the contrast between the old chest and the newer lock. "This means it's probably been tampered with recently," Sam surmises. They exchange determined glances, realizing someone else might have tried securing something important inside. The modernity of the lock hints at a more recent, significant concealment. They attempt to haul the chest out, but realize its weight is due to its contents. "This thing weighs a ton," Sam grunts. Jackson tries lifting one end, confirming Sam's assessment. "We can't drag it out easily," Jackson admits, sweating. They examine the chest again, their frustration palpable. We need help, Sam suggests. Jackson shakes his head, determined to keep the circle small. We'll come back for it when we're prepared, he concludes. Intrigued and frustrated by yet another locked box, they decide to hide it in the shed until they can find a way to open it. Jackson scouts ahead, making sure the coast is clear while Sam drags the heavy chest. Let's keep it here for now, Jackson whispers, hiding the chest behind old garden tools. They make sure it's well concealed before slipping away. We'll figure it out later, says Jackson, cloaking their frustration with determination. Jackson's suspicions about his parents reach a boiling point when he overhears them discussing a visitor who seems deeply interested in the property's history. They are up to something, Jackson's mom whispers. His dad responds, "We can't let him find out." Jackson strains to hear more, each word adding fuel to his growing suspicions. He tiptoes back to his room, determined to uncover why this stranger cares so much about their house. Eavesdropping, he learns that this mysterious figure might actually have the key to open the chest. He must know something important, Jackson whispers to Sam the next day. Sam's eyes widen. Then we have to talk to him. Jackson agrees, seeing no other option if they're to uncover more. They hatch a plan to find this visitor, hoping he holds the missing piece to their puzzle. The timing had to be perfect and discreet. Jackson devises a plan to meet this person under the guise of being a prospective historian wanting to document the house's heritage. "I'll pose as an amateur historian," Jackson explains to Sam. Sam nods. It's a convincing story. Jackson practices his lines, determined to sound believable. The goal is simple. Find out what he knows, Jackson instructs. Ready for the encounter, they wait for their chance to approach the man without arousing the parents' suspicion. The covert meeting leads to more questions as the visitor hints at a family secret that Jackson's adoptive parents have been guarding zealously. "It's not just about the house," the visitor mumbled, eyes darting nervously. Jackson noticed the tremor in his voice. "You need to understand, some secrets are meant to stay buried," the man continued. Jackson nodded, even though confusion swirled in his mind. What could be so crucial that his parents would hide it? Jackson uses the information from the covert meeting to get the final piece needed to open the chest. The visitor's vague hints nagged at him, leading him to search through every document with renewed vigor. In one of the journal entries, he found a mention of a special key. "This has to be it," Jackson murmured. He traced the lines on the paper, a clear path to where the key might be hidden. Everything was finally coming together. When he finally breaks it open, he finds documentation that confirms his biological relationship to the previous owner, the young man in the photograph. Jackson's hands trembled as he flipped through the papers. Birth certificates, letters, and legal documents all pointed to one undeniable truth. "He's my real father," Jackson whispered in disbelief. Sam stared, equally stunned. The chest's contents unraveled a story that seemed almost too surreal to comprehend. The records explain his parents' involvement in the hidden secrets and their effort to protect him from a dangerous inheritance. Newspaper clippings detailed a series of unfortunate events tied to his biological father. His adoptive parents had taken him in to shield him from this turbulent past. "They knew everything," Jackson muttered. The realization hit him hard. They had concealed the truth to give him a chance at a normal life, free from the shadow of his father's legacy. Jackson turns pale as he reads further, discovering a long-kept secret about his life. The documents painted a chilling picture of his biological father's activities, involving clandestine meetings and dangerous individuals. "This is unbelievable," Jackson said, feeling lightheaded. Sam put a hand on his shoulder, trying to steady him. The weight of the revelations was almost too much to bear. The secret room, the locked boxes, and his parents' odd behavior all suddenly made sense. The documents describe a heritage filled with mystery and peril, one his adoptive parents tried to shield him from. Jackson read about hidden treasures and long-lost fortunes, all tied to his real family. "It's almost like a movie plot," Sam muttered, eyes wide. But for Jackson, it was anything but fiction. Every line he read deepened his understanding of the dangers his parents had feared, dangers that were now his to face. Now understanding the magnitude of what he has unearthed, Jackson grapples with his newfound knowledge. The connection to his biological family felt both like a treasure and a burden. "What do I do now?" he asked, turning to Sam. "We'll figure it out. Together," Sam replied. Jackson nodded, appreciating the solidarity. His journey had led him to truths he never expected, and now he had to decide how to carry this newfound legacy. He shares the discovery with Mr. Thompson, who helps him piece together the final fragments of the story. "This is astounding," Mr. Thompson said, examining the documents. "Your biological father was involved in something much bigger." Together, they cross-referenced the journals, letters, and old maps. Mr. Thompson provided crucial context, filling in gaps Jackson hadn't even noticed. "It's incredible and disturbing," Jackson admitted, feeling the weight of his heritage settling upon him. Jackson realizes his journey has only just begun, as the legacy left by his biological parents is both valuable and dangerous. "This isn't the end, it's the beginning," Mr. Thompson remarked. Jackson agreed, understanding the depth of what lay ahead. "I have to be prepared," he said to himself. The treasure, the secrets, and the family history, they were all pieces of a larger puzzle that Jackson was now determined to solve. He decides to confront his adoptive parents once more, armed with the truth and determined to get complete transparency. "We need to talk," Jackson said firmly, facing them in the living room. His parents exchanged anxious glances. "I know everything," Jackson added, pulling out the documents. They sighed, realizing there was no more hiding. "We did it to protect you," his mom explained, tears welling up. Finally, it was time for the whole truth to come out. Jackson's confrontation leads to emotional revelations from his parents, who admit their fear and protective intentions. "We were scared for you," his mom explained, eyes brimming with tears. His dad nodded silently, his face etched with worry. "The inheritance isn't just about money. It's about responsibility and danger," his dad added, his voice trembling. Jackson felt a wave of mixed emotions, the honesty in their words shaking him to his core. They explained the dangerous inheritance linked to his biological family, hoping to finally lay all secrets to rest. "Your father was involved in things beyond his control," his mom continued. "He wanted to protect you, but it came at a cost." His dad chimed in. "We thought we could shield you from that life, make sure you had a chance at normalcy." Jackson listened intently, piecing together the puzzle of his past. Jackson begins to understand their actions and feels a mixture of gratitude and betrayal. "You did it out of love," he murmured, eyes locked on the floor. His parents nodded, their faces a blend of relief and fear. "But you should have told me," Jackson added, a tinge of bitterness in his voice. The room filled with silence, the weight of unspoken words pressing on all of them. Clarity and confusion intertwined in his mind. His parents provide additional information, filling in gaps he couldn't understand from the documents alone. "The journals you found were your father's way of documenting everything," his dad said, pulling out another old ledger. "But he was also trying to find a way out," his mom added quietly. "We only understood parts of it ourselves, but now together, We can make sense of the rest, she assured. Jackson nodded, appreciating their efforts to clarify the convoluted tale. Working together, they devise a plan to manage the inheritance safely and responsibly, avoiding the pitfalls that plagued his biological family. "We need to approach this cautiously," his dad suggested, spreading out a large map on the table. Jackson leaned in, marking key locations. "We'll secure the valuables, but also make sure we're not repeating past mistakes," he said, determined yet wary. His parents agreed, knowing that unity was their best strength going forward. With the truth finally out, Jackson feels a sense of closure, even as he prepares to take on the challenges that lie ahead. "I know what needs to be done," he told Sam later that evening, a newfound confidence coursing through him. Sam smiled. "And you're not alone in this." Jackson's heart felt lighter. The burdens of secrecy lifted. The path ahead wasn't clear, but he felt equipped to navigate it, surrounded by those he trusted. Jackson, now equipped with full knowledge and support from his family and Mr. Thompson, starts planning his future. "We can use the inheritance for good," Jackson mused aloud. Mr. Thompson nodded approvingly. "It's about turning a dark past into a bright future." Jackson's parents also chimed in with their support, offering whatever guidance they could. The once daunting challenge now felt like a shared mission, uniting the family and forging new bonds of trust. He decides to honor his biological parents' legacy in a way that also acknowledges his adoptive parents' sacrifices. "We can start a foundation," Jackson suggested, "something that helps others and brings light to what was once hidden." His adoptive parents looked at him with pride, appreciating his thoughtful approach. "That sounds perfect," his mom agreed. Jackson felt a sense of peace. He was embracing his past while carving out a positive direction for the future. Jackson sets into motion a series of actions to secure the inheritance and protect his family. He coordinated with legal experts, ensuring all documentation was in place. "This isn't just about the money," he reiterated. "It's about safeguarding everyone involved." With his parents and Mr. Thompson's help, they took measured steps, turning the once perilous legacy into a well-structured asset. The process was complex but vital, bringing a new level of security and foresight. In the end, Jackson feels more connected to both his past and his present, ready to face whatever comes next with confidence and clarity. "I finally understand who I am and where I come from," he reflected. Sam patted his back. "And you've got us with you." Jackson's adoptive parents beamed with pride. The family gathered for dinner, a newfound sense of unity pervading the air. Jackson knew the road ahead was long, but he felt prepared for the journey.